Let's keep reading in John chapter 8, starting in verse 48. The Jews answered him, "Aren't we right in saying that you are a Samaritan and demon-possessed?" "I'm not possessed by a demon," said Jesus, "but I honor my Father, and you dishonor me. I'm not seeking glory for myself, but there is one who seeks it, and he is the judge. Very truly, I tell you, whoever obeys my word will never see death." At this they exclaimed, "Now we know that you are demon-possessed. Abraham died, and so did the prophets, yet you say, whoever obeys your word will never taste death. Are you greater than our father Abraham? He died, and so did the prophets. Who do you think you are?" Jesus replied, "If I glorify myself, my glory means nothing. My Father, whom you claim as your God, is the one who glorifies me. Though you do not know him, I know him. If I say I did not, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him, and I obey his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced at the thought of seeing my day. He saw it and was glad." "You're not yet 50 years old," they said to him, "and you have seen Abraham?" "Very truly, I tell you," Jesus answered, "before Abraham was born, I am." At this, they picked up stones to stone him, but Jesus hid himself, slipping away from the temple grounds. This is that continued back and forth with Jesus and the crowd. Now the crowds are tension-filled. This man, Jesus, the carpenter's son, the guy that healed the sick, he forgave the adulterous woman. And here he's teaching in the temple courts. In the previous set of verses that we just read through, he accused this same crowd of being children of the devil because they spoke lies to him and about him. Well, this back and forth, and you know it's happened, right? When you get to this point where you're just desperate, you get down to name calling. They start calling Jesus a Samaritan. And remember, they didn't have this they really hated the Samaritan. So he's a Samaritan. And by the way, you're demon-possessed too, Jesus. They're just trying to pour it on because they had run out of things to call him. Now Jesus entertains the conversation, but then he digs in and says, "If you know," almost like he was saying in the last passage we read, "If you really knew who I was." In this case, he says, if you knew who I was, then you would see it's the Father that glorifies me. It was God that was pointing to him, God the Father pointing right to him. Then he mentions Abraham, their father, their historical context. Remember, they are waiting for Messiah, and here he is. Abraham saw it. Abraham knew that this very incarnate Son of God would come through his lineage. He anticipated the day that Jesus would arrive. Remember, his faith was credited to him as righteousness, and it was his faith knowing that God would answer and God would fulfill his promise and bless the world through his seed, and that seed came in the person of Jesus. Now, I want to get down to the verse 58 where I love the phrase, and it goes this way. Remember, he says, "Very truly, I tell you, before Abraham was born, I am. I am. Ego eimi. I am." This statement is made over and over again in the book of John, or this Gospel of John. This statement of God being Jesus and Jesus being God. He is. There is none like him. There's no other like him. Notice it's not I am he. No, I am. And that is it. I exist. Everything exists because of me. Jesus is putting his foot in the ground. So if you ever hear or challenge that Jesus never said he was God, Jesus very much said he was God in saying that he is, in his words, I am. Keep reading with us as we continue through John. Got a great teaching coming up tomorrow with Hugh going through John chapter 9. Keep up with this. God's got this. The best is yet to come.